All right, here we go. I said many times that what we do is to work on several levels and to bring to the table many backgrounds and many different kind of expertise. So from the very intimate, personal, direct empathy of Darlene, we are moving on to a very different point of view. Another woman again, another great person I had the pleasure to interact with, and let's bring her on. Here she comes, but on a very, very different topic. But that's part of the Spirit of Freedom Summit. And we will try to give you options, all kinds of options to follow your dreams and to follow all of your goals. Ginger Arboleda. She is the Chief Operations Officer at Texumo, but also the CEO of Manila Workshops. Ginger, Manila Workshop is an event company that focuses on creating learning events and content for aspiring entrepreneurs and freelancers. She's also the COO of Texumo, a tech company with a system that automates the computation, filing, and payment of taxes of self-employed individuals, freelance professionals. She's the blogger behind MummyGinger.com. She's also the founder of Lean in Philippines, the Philippine branch of Lean.org, and co-founders of Startup Women Connect Asia. A lot of different operations, but something in common. In fact, all of her business revolves around the mission of helping entrepreneurs start their own businesses and help them sustain it. She has also been a speaker in various events where she talks about entrepreneurship, women empowerment, marketing, social media, and even mommyhood. And here she comes. You have a very difficult act to follow. So let's move on to your space because you are free.
Hi, Fabio. Thank you so much for that introduction. Can everyone hear me? Thank you so much, Freedom Summit Global, for inviting me to speak about one of the most interesting topics that I get asked a lot. So let me share my screen. Just a minute. Oops. There you go. So I'll be sharing this presentation. So do you see my screen? I'll be looking at my phone here so that I'll know if you see it. Can you type in like a comment if you can see it? So yeah, let me know if you see it. Okay, so I'll just, there. Okay, there you go. I see it. Okay, so hi everyone. It was a very interesting topic that Darlene shared. I think I was thinking a lot of things about all of the changes that's been happening. So before I proceed to my presentation, I think Fabio did a fabulous job of introducing me. But aside from all of these things, what people see in our LinkedIn profiles, what people see in Facebook, the thing to note is that I'm also a mom. I'm a wife to my co-founder, EJ Arboleda. I'm also a mom to a 7-year-old daughter. So those are the things that people don't get to see when you like introduce yourself during speaking engagements like this. No, there are a lot of things happening besides like handling businesses, handling a freelancing career as a blogger, and handling the communities like this. So one of the things that I get asked a lot, that's why I chose this topic, is how do you do all of these things, Ginger? Like, how are you so productive? And to be honest with you, I've been hesitant for quite some time to share like how I do it, because I just feel that I don't have anything to share. I don't know like how to break down stuff. Like I don't know what actually makes me productive. But interestingly enough, during this quarantine, I've read a lot of productivity books. I've seen a lot of productivity videos, and that actually helped me really understand like how I do things. And as Fabio mentioned, one of the things that I really want to share with you all as entrepreneurs or as freelancers is to basically help you in sustaining and growing and sustaining your business. And I think productivity plays an important role in this. So, okay, let's proceed. So, when we say productivity, I'd like you to type in the comment section, like, what do you think of when we talk about productivity? Like, feel free to type in all of the things that you think of. So I think there's a bit of a delay when I'm looking here in my phone. So I'll just go on and say, like, some of you may say, like, you're thinking of results, you're thinking of, let's say, metrics or output, right? These are like all of the technical terms that come to our mind when we talk about productivity, which is, yeah, very good. But I'd like to share with you the best definition of productivity that I've seen online. And it's this. It's about what you want to do in your life and how well you do it. So this is a quote by Thomas Frank. He's a productivity coach. He's amazing. He's really amazing. He's one of the productivity coaches that I follow on YouTube. And what I like about this quote is that it discusses two of the most important things that we should think of when we talk about productivity. One is it's about what you want to do. When we say you want to do, we're not thinking about outside influence. There's no external factor that influences your decision. And when we talk about how well you do things, what I like about that part is that it also considers the feeling of fulfillment and the quality of that particular thing that you're trying to do. So we feel more fulfilled and productive because we define the things that we wanted to do. And also we do it better because tayo yung nag-define nun, diba? So we are the ones who chose those things. So in this presentation, I'll be discussing some of the things that really helped me as an entrepreneur, as a freelancer, as a work-from-home mom. And it will be under these two categories. So the thing about productivity really is that there's no best way to go about it. It's always about experimenting what really works for you as individuals. And the thing about it as well is that, like, one thing may be helpful at this point in time, but when your life changes later on, there's this other thing that really helps you become more productive. So there is not one clear-cut way of how you can be productive. So what I can share today are really the things that I've done. And I think what you want to hear naman is really about experiences. So these are some of the things that really helped me, and I'll be sharing a few experiences as well as we go through the presentation. So let's start with what you want to do. So the first thing that came to my mind when I was doing the presentation is really to focus and be present. So know when to focus and be intentionally present. So one of the things that people would ask me is that, what do you think of time management? Like, how do you manage your time? And I'd like to share something, an analogy. Basically, for me, time management is just like juggling. It's a juggling act. So when you juggle items on the air, it's easier to juggle, obviously, 2 items rather juggling 3 to 5 things all at the same time. And also, when you juggle, you'll notice that you'll keep your focus, or you'll be holding at least 2 items at the same time and not more than that, because you only have, obviously, 2 hands. So for me, it's that. You will have to focus on at least some of the things, 2 of the things that you need to do on a daily basis. And then the rest will be your focus on the next day. So for all of us who think that time management is really achieving that 50-50% balance between between family and work, let me tell you, you'll never achieve that. You'll never have that equal balance between family and work. And that's okay. It's fine. Even for multitaskers, no? Even if you multitask and if you tend to multitask, you'll notice that you can only multitask with like a few things and not all of the things that you want to do. So I think that's their superpower. Multitaskers, their superpower is really focusing on certain things at certain times. tips. Okay, so, and which will also probably relate to doing things like coming out with things which are not half baked, diba? So which relates to doing things well later on. So that's the first thing. We really have to be present, and you'll notice na as you go through the different activities on a day-to-day basis. Like for example, if you're spending time with your kid, you really have to be present. You really have to be intentionally there. Give it your all, no, your mind, your focus, all of these things, your presence, and I think that's one thing that we fail to realize, no, when we're going through our day-to-day tasks. It's just getting things done, so we don't get to enjoy the little moments that later on, like, pass us by na lang, no? So yeah, we have to be present and we have to be intentionally there. Okay, next is keep the Pareto principle in mind. So have you heard of the Pareto principle? So for this, no, it says that 20%, I always keep this in mind when it comes to productivity, because you'll notice that 20% of your time and effort actually give you the 80% of the results that you want. So this is the reason why when you look at different videos, productivity videos, or you follow like productivity gurus, or even entrepreneurs and freelancers who are very successful, they'll always tell you, like, you have to choose 3 to 5 tasks a day that you need to focus on. It's because they've already observed it, they've already done it, they've already experimented on it, and it's just it, no, you can only do a certain number of things given the time that we're given every day. So always keep that in mind. So the Pareto principle. And then in choosing, oh, sorry, in terms of like being distracted, I wanted to point this out as well. There are days, I don't know if you feel this as well, like there are days like when you do a lot of things and then at the end of the day, you feel still unfulfilled, no? Parang wala akong nagawa, di ba? What did I do? I didn't even feel that I was productive during the day. It's because we don't, and I've noticed this also for me. There are days when I start like just answering emails, and then that will take me the entire morning. And then later on, I get to resolve issues with the team. They talk to me about things, and then at the end of the day, feeling ko wala akong nagawa. I feel like I wasn't productive. So that's because the 3 to 5 things that we do on a daily basis are not our priorities. So which moves me to this point that the 3 to 5 things really have to be what you prioritize or what your priorities are. And people ask me, like, Ginger, how do we define priorities? Because we have a whole list, no? Women, we love to have lists. So we have a list of like 20 tasks, 20, 30, 40, 50 tasks that we need to do on a day-to-day basis. And if we don't do it, we bring it on forward to the next day and then try to accomplish that as well. So we're very fond of lists, no? But how do you actually pick what your priorities are given that whole list? So this is what I do. Maybe you can take it down as well. So what is your personal definition of success? This is something that we don't often discuss. When you think of yourself as someone who's successful, who is that person and what are you doing? What is your definition of success? And then what are the things that make you feel productive at the end of the day? So you'll notice that, no, that you will identify tasks that will make you actually feel productive. An example is, for example, for me, I usually do like vlogs on my Facebook page. I interview people. I get to know like different people and what they're doing in different businesses. And every time that I do that, I feel very productive. Like every time that I get to people, learn about like what they're doing in their business, learn tips, learn their strategies, I really feel productive. So if you've noted that one thing down, try to do it on a day-to-day basis. No, try to incorporate that into your schedule, because that will make you feel happy. That will make you feel productive. No, being happy really tends to make you feel productive later on. So So that's one thing that makes me feel productive. And then the third thing is, why are you doing the things that you do? So for me, it's really about doing everything for my daughter. I'm sure moms can relate. No? So all of the things that we're doing, earning money, looking for side jobs, looking for a business to begin with, to grow, it's all because we want a bright future for our kids. And that's my own reason. So in terms of priority, this will help you make that decision. For example, if an emergency for your, let's say, family or your daughter comes up, and an emergency for work comes up at the same time, what will you do? Where will you go? So eventually, for me, you know where I will go. I will obviously prioritize my daughter versus my business. So those are by logging in, like defining your priorities or logging your priorities, it will help you make that, it will make decision making easier moving forward. So there. And one thing that I want to share with you as well, this is a funny thing that I do. I did a day in a life audit, like in the beginning of the quarantine, the quarantine last March. And what I did was I took an Instagram story of the activities that I would do on a day-to-day basis. And I think some of you may have seen that in my Instagram account. And it's because I was actually doing a day in a life audit. It was more for me rather than for the people who were following my Instagram account. So this is something that you can do, because an audit of your life can serve as a baseline for you moving forward. No, you have to know what tasks are you doing on a daily basis. So another thing that I used as well is Toggle. I think some of the freelancers here would be familiar with that. Toggle is a tool that keeps track of like what you're doing on a particular time of the day. So when you know that, you can now easily pinpoint which tasks now equate to like different priorities in your life. Is this related to your priority? Does it help you achieve your success? Is this something that needs to be done just for the sake of being done? Is this something again related to your priorities? So there, no? So this is one thing that I think most of us need to really do in terms of like being more productive. And when to do this, we usually do this when we know that we will encounter a big change in our life. So that's the reason why I did it during quarantine, because all of our schedules like were interrupted. All of we had to work from home instead from the office. So all of the schedules, how we did things were sort of like changed. It's also good to do this when you're, let's say, getting married or moving out of the house or living in on your own. So there. So any major change, you'll have to do a day in a life audit. Okay. So feel free to ask questions. I'm looking at the screen here in my phone. Okay, so I so that I can also address it later on. Okay, so for the second part, it's how well you do it. So let's start with this. So efficiency. So as you know, I'm a tech startup founder, and we often talk about scalability. We use the word scale. We have to scale our business. We ask if our processes are scalable. We ask if our products are scalable. And how do we know if our processes and products are scalable? It's if these products and services are both time efficient and also cost efficient. So this is also how I run my personal life or my daily life, or be it work or be it with my family. So I always strive for efficiency with everything that I do. So since we have limited hours in a day, I list down and identify these two things. So I list down like what are the essentials and priorities in my life versus the essentials and not a priority. So what I do for essentials and priorities, you, like what I've said and mentioned, you have to sit down, be present, do it yourself, experience and really hug that experience or hug that moment of doing the task or doing that responsibility. But for the essentials and not a priority, what I do is I actually automate things. Now, this is where like productivity tools can actually help you. This is the reason why we have, when you search for productivity tools, you'll see a lot of tools that can actually help you really become more productive. So, an example, I'll give you a concrete example. As I mentioned, I come up with different vlogs in my page, Mommy Ginger. And you'll notice that I release one video every 7 p.m. on a daily basis. And these video lasts for like 1 hour. So how I do it is that I actually pre-record it already. So all of these things are recorded. And then I set it as premiere, Facebook premiere. So people think that we're actually doing a live session, but it's not actually a live session. It's a recording that we set as premiere. And then once it's running, we can actually now focus on the questions being typed in as comments during the live session. So that's how I do it. So, and the reason why I automated that is because I know it takes time. It takes me a lot of time, really, like editing, shooting the video, talking to people, editing, and then like setting it as a post. I'm sure all of the social media managers know this as well. It's really a heavy task. No, it's very tedious. Like posting often, as frequent as possible. So with that, I can actually, aside from like automating that process of setting it as a premiere live sessions, what I do is I also do time blocking. So I'm sure you're gonna hear this term now when you're really interested about learning more about productivity. You'll hear the term time blocking. So what is time blocking? Time blocking is doing similar kinds of tasks during a time block in the day. So what are similar tasks? For example, what I do is I interview people one after the other, usually in the afternoons. So I get to record it. And then I do everything, all of the recordings in one afternoon. I edit all of the videos another afternoon. I set as premiere maybe in the morning or in the afternoon. So I basically lump all of the same tasks together during one frame or time block, as we call it. The reason why is that it takes a while for the brain of a human to adjust from one task, which requires a certain set of skills, and then to jump into another task, which requires a different set of skills. So you have to take that into consideration as well. So that's the reason why these things can actually help you really become more efficient, because learning that your body or being more aware of how you do things and how you adjust to certain things can actually really help you become more productive there. So another thing that I do, a practical tip that I do, is I create systems. So I have a scheduling system, I have a note-taking system, I have a communication system, I also have a task management system. So, but before I set up systems, what I do is I take a look at my life and I divide it into buckets. So I have a bucket for family, I have a bucket for let's say Manila workshops, I have a bucket for Tatsumo, I have a bucket for SWCA, I have a bucket for Lean In Philippines. All of these are in different buckets. I even have a bucket for learning, and I also have a bucket for fitness, like because I really want to exercise on a day-to-day basis. So I divide my life into different buckets. And the way I do it, I'll give you an example. I have some screenshots here. So this is how I schedule my day. This is my Google Calendar. I use Google Calendar. As you can see at the left portion of the screen, you'll see the different aspects of my life. So these are the different buckets. It's color-coded. There's this funny story. My sister, like before quarantine, she was asking me like, hey Manang. Manang is basically older sister in our dialect. So, hey Manang, are you free to have dinner with the family? And then I'd ask her, yeah, what date, what time? And she'd say the date. And I would tell her, oh, okay, so please send me a Google Calendar invite. So that's how I actually conduct, like, even even family affairs. I really put it in my calendar because because obviously, you don't want to be late. And one of my pet peeve is really like being late to gatherings or being late to calls, online calls like this, or even to like certain commitments. So I really have to put everything in my calendar. So this is something that you can actually also do. And as you can see there, I also created a bucket for my learning. You'll see Coursera and Elevate.
Ginger, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
Yes.
the bucket of time is almost empty.
Oh,
So
no worries.
you have to wrap
Actually,
it up.
Fabio, this is my last slide. So
Very good. I'll be back very soon.
yeah, so we are all given the same amount of time, no? So what I want people to know that for this webinar is really that we're all given the same amount of time. So how you use it is really the determinant of how successful you're going to be in the future, because that's our asset. That's what we all have in common. So that's it, Fabio. Thank you so much.
And then I'm back. I always feel very sorry when I have to barge in, but this is a train that never stops. For 3 days, we are just going like a clockwork.
Yes, no worries.
A lot of feedback, so thank you very much. Where can people reach you in your many ventures?
Okay, they can reach me by looking for Mommy Ginger. It's a Facebook page. So they can just send me a PM, Fabio.
All right, that would be great. Very direct, very interesting. So thank you very much, Ginger, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye.